Well, good morning, my friend. Welcome to the Pastors Podcast Thursday morning. Good to have you with me today as we get going on another day. Going to be another warm one here in the Oklahoma City area, and looking forward to going soul winning this morning before the heat really gets hot. And let's be faithful. I know it's hot around the country, but we've got to continue going soul winning. Stay hydrated as you go. And to end out the summer. I want you to end out the summer on a strong note. Would you do that? Let's see what God can do in helping us to be able to reach many people this summer. And I know we've had a great summer here. I was talking to somebody else, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that they've had a great enjoy hearing the reports of people having a great summer and that they don't surrender to the summertime blues. Let's have a summer jump, and boy, God can certainly do great things. Well, today I want to talk to you about all but a little less. In 2 Kings chapter 15, verses 34 and 35, the scripture says, "And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. He did according to all that his father Uzziah had done. Howbeit, the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burned incense still in the high places. He built the higher gate of the house of the Lord." Jotham was a good young man who likely loved and respected his father. When he became king of Judah, the scriptures say that he did all that his father did. Now, but then there's one word completes how this young man conducted himself. The word is howbeit. In other words, this man did all that his father did. Howbeit, the word howbeit is simply saying that he did all, but just a little less. You see, the howbeit in his life was following almost everything that his father did. In other words, he followed his father, but not to the same degree that his father did it. Most children will do all that their parents do, but a little less when we're talking about serving the Lord. There are always exceptions to this rule, but most of the time, children always do a little bit less in following the Lord than like their parents, and because they're in by which they live. For instance, the proof of this principle is in the condition of our society. So our society thinks it has improved, but has actually decayed slowly over time. What we once used to reject in society decades ago, we now accept as normal today. This has not happened quickly. The next generation always has a howbeit in their lives that has slowly decayed society. A society does not decay quickly. It decays by one generation doing a little less right than the previous generation to eventual decay. Now, if we want to keep our churches and children right, there are some areas we must guard against doing a little less. First, we must guard against having a little less morality than the previous generation. Just because you are your own person does not give you the right to live a little less right than your parents. Morality does not decay quickly. It decays by doing a little less day after day until one's morality is gone. We don't need to live a little less moral, my friend. What we ought to do is raise our morals so the next generation doesn't lose theirs. Second, we must guard against serving God a little less. We live in times when people say, well, I don't want to lose my family for my ministry. That's a bunch of hogwash, because nobody loses their family for the ministry. Nobody ever says that. Well, I don't want to lose my family for entertainment. No one ever says that. So you yahoos out there that want to go down that road, why don't you go after Hollywood? Why don't you go after those in politicians? Why don't you go after business people? Why don't you go after people who are just employees who work many hours a day trying to build? They lose their kids as well. So don't go down this road, the ministry. You say that because you're a lazy bum that uses that to rebel against Christ. And that's why you say that. I get tired of that mess. Some of you people ought to wake up and understand we're doing a little less and we're losing our kids. To say you're not going to give the same degree of dedication to serving God is to say you're going to increase your fleshly and worldly, sensual lifestyle. That's what you do. That's why some of these guys, they got their boys singing on YouTube that sound like pop stars, and yet everybody in our fundamental world wants to think they're a great singer. We're doing a little less morally, and we're losing our churches. Somewhere, the devil has fed many parents with the lie, well, I don't want to lose my children Yeah, you are, because you're looking like the contemporary Christian music crowd. You're sounding like them. You're walking like them. You're dressing like them. You put your little colored lights up. You're trying to act like everyone else. We're not losing our kids because of the ministry. We're losing our kids because we've lowered our standard of dedication to our God. That's why we're losing them. So don't blame it on God and don't blame it on the ministry. I get tired of that mess. Some of you guys, you get mad at me and you're doing a little less soul winning, a little less preaching, a little less teaching. You're shutting down your bus routes. You're shutting down your soul winning times. You don't have the morals you once used to have, just a little less. Yeah, and that's why we're losing our nation. You say, I love America. No, you don't. You love Russia more than you love America, because if you loved America, you would serve God. Now, we've got to guard against doing a little less. Third, we must guard against lowering our expectations for the miraculous. You see, one reason we have dying churches is nobody, well, I'm just not about numbers. No, I know you're not, because you're dying. If people that are building something understand numbers are important, it tells us where we are. Many have justified mediocrity in church building to their church's detriment, to their city's detriment, to their nation's detriment, to the detriment of eternity, because people die and go to hell because we're not doing our job. I'm telling you, the answer is not to do a little less. The answer is to do a little more. Because when we do a little less righteousness, our kids would do a whole lot more unrighteousness. And that's what's happened. You've got that crowd out there that sits around their little tables having their little ESPN talks on Sunday morning or Sunday night instead of old-fashioned preaching, and they're more interested in looking like the world than being a soul winner. They want to get upset at me, and they know in their heart they're not the same. They know it. They know in their heart they're more interested in living like the world and having the fun of the world and drinking sipping their little glass of wine, and that's why we're losing our nation. My friend, we don't need to do a little less. We need to do a whole lot more for God. That's what we need. And if we don't get there, I'm going to tell you right now, we will lose our families. We'll lose our churches. We'll lose our nation. And one day you'll look down the road and you'll rue the fact, what happened to America? I'll tell you what happened. The churches did a little less. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves, pray, seek God's face, turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will heal their sin, and heal their land. I'll forgive their sin and heal their land. God said he'll do that. But it's not by doing a little less. It's always doing a whole lot more. My friend, we're not doing enough for God. So let's not do a little less. Let's do a whole lot more. And let's keep our nation strong by our churches, not cowering to the liberals who want to act like independent Baptists, and they're not. Don't worry about them. Let them yap as their churches die, as they preach to their 20. Let's go build our churches. Let's reach people for Jesus Christ. And let's see what God can do to turn our nation back to him. Well, I hope this helps you today. Now, let's remember today, be good to everyone. Everyone's having a tough time. Have a great day, my friend.